Welcome to NothingisOB South Texas Golf Podcast, episode number 47. I have a special guest today. It is GregHiller. He is the Director of Instruction at TPC San Antonio. But before we get to speaking with Greg, I have to announce I have a brand new sponsor of the show. I have a good buddy of mine. It's Michael Aguirre. Now, Mike is a financial advisor for Capital Strategies. Now, I wouldn't just say any sponsor or have any sponsor for the show, but I spoke to Mike and I know him from coaching his daughter, Michelle. Mike has such a passion for helping others. And the way I like to think I'm passionate about golf, it was awesome. He gave me goosebumps the way he was passionate about helping others in their finances and helping them secure a better financial outlook for themselves and for their family. Especially during this COVID time, you see all these GoFundMes or people selling brisket plates or barbecue plates to help with funeral costs, medical costs. Mike can really help you into looking into some of those things that can really help your family and help people just in case something were to happen to you. Mike is passionate. Mike is such an awesome guy. Please hit up Mike at maguirre@csomtx.com, or you can give him a call on his cell phone at 210-413-2522. Hit up Mike. He won't let you down. All right. Now, on to our show with GregHiller. Now, I have GregHiller here. Like I stated earlier, he is the Director of Instruction at TPC San Antonio. He's played in several, he's won several mini tour events. He's played in several web.com tour events as well, which is now the Korn Ferry Tour. And he's qualified for the 2003 U.S. Open at Olympia Fields in Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for joining the show tonight, Greg.
Hey, Andy. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and like I stated to you earlier off air, man, I've been such a big admirer of yours from afar, of the work you do. And besides teaching, I love that you still play. I love to hear that these teaching professionals, Class A PGA professional like yourself, that still grinds and still gets those feels that all of us golfers and hack golfers are trying to get.
Yeah, it's good. That's what makes golf fun is if you're competitive, there's always an arena for you to play in. And obviously I tried to pursue the PGA Tour for about 11 years and got within making it to the finals of Q School twice by a shot. And but I qualified for a bunch of, what was then a nationwide tour and qualified for a bunch of those events and got to play with a lot of big names. In fact, one of the names that's on the leaderboard right now is Camilo Villegas, and I actually have played with him in an event. It was actually in Louisiana. So, but playing at that level and then playing on the Southern Texas PGA events and stuff, I enjoy. I still enjoy the competitive side of it. So,
it's awesome to watch those Southern Texas PGA event leaderboards, because I see your name up there at the top, and then I see you holding. I haven't seen you this year holding the first place one, but I've seen you up there taking pictures. Holding those flags that say that have the place on it, and it's really neat because I know the kind of guy you are. Whenever you worked at San Pedro for the Alamo City Golf Trail, you always took care of a little golf coach from a little Catholic school like myself. You always let the kids get on play a couple holes. You always threw us some range balls, and it's just this is why I do the podcast. It's kind of is to meet personalities like that, because you really, and I'm sure from all the years you've played golf, you really learn a lot about how someone carries themselves on the golf course, about how their personality really is.
Yes. I've always enjoyed helping like schools and people like yourself, because I came from a very small school, very small town. My golf course didn't even have a driving range. In fact, they didn't even have grass greens when I started. They didn't even have an irrigation system. So to come from nothing is actually where I came from. So my little town was a town that had sand greens, and so that's when a town didn't have a lot of money and couldn't afford a full size 18-hole or 9-hole golf course with bunkers and all that sort of thing. That just happened to be the way that they started out building golf courses. And, then I went on to play like an 18-hole golf course. There's a number of them in Bismarck, and that's so looking back, it's easy. It was easy to support schools and people like yourself because I was a part of that regime a long time ago.
Well, stating that some tournaments and some of the events and the courses that you played in Bismarck, everyone, just in case they don't know that you're from North Dakota. And so we're going to kind of mix this up a little bit. So how did you make your way from North Dakota all the way to little old San Antonio, Texas?
Yeah. Well, nobody at the time, virtually nobody in my family played golf. And my godfather actually played and introduced me to the game. He got me going, kind of helped stoke a passion for the game in me. Then I just went on to play, and then I actually had one or two relatives that were already playing and kind of came out of the woodwork, and just loved to play. And I was very, very fortunate by the junior golf program that they had in Bismarck. It's got to be one of the top junior programs in the country, the way they allowed golfers to have special kinds of memberships and free golf on certain days and junior golf camps and a series of tournaments all the time. Looking back, it was probably the best experience I could have even have dreamt up. And then that kind of led to me having some success on the high school level. I won the state medalist title in my school's division when I was a freshman in high school. And so kind of got off to an early start and was able to bring home with, our fivesome of guys. I was also able to bring home our school's only state championship. And so that's led to a decades long legacy of a love for golf in a small town. And then I went on to play golf for North Dakota State University. And at the time when I was playing in tournaments and stuff, I was having some more success and was kind of developing myself as a young amateur. Met a golf professional at a golf course, a PGA professional who went to Texas Lutheran. And so I wanted to go from a cold climate. Obviously, everybody knows North Dakota is a very cold climate. Went from that to just somewhere in the South where I could play golf and stuff. And so I played my way onto the team at Texas Lutheran University, and then I liked the city of San Antonio and the opportunities that it had, and then that's where I stayed right after college.
Well, can you tell me or tell our listeners what's some of the biggest differences from playing up north and then playing here in the South?
Couple main things. Obviously, the weather. The weather's a big component. I think my golf course was open from right around March to about Halloween. So you've got 4 months or 5 months where the golf course isn't open. You pretty much hang your clubs up for the wintertime. You do other things, other activities. And then when you're playing a lot. So the sun stays up, or the days are longer and stuff up there. So it's not uncommon for me to be playing at 8:45 to almost 9:30 at night in the summertime. In fact, I played golf when I was up fishing with my dad in northern Manitoba. We walked off the golf course like at 10:30 at night. The sun was just setting. That's how far north we were playing golf.
Damn, that's awesome though. I mean, that takes sundown golf to like a new level. I mean, that's almost that's nighttime golf.
I know,
with no lights.
It's a new country song. Fish all day, golf all night.
Well, that is, and shoot, for hack golfers like me, and for people that listen and will watch the show, like right now at this time, especially after the time change, sundown golf is like it's back in session.
Yeah.
And especially right now since the COVID, all this COVID stuff is happening, golf is just exploding, especially at the municipal courses. Now, how is it at a private course level right now? Do you see a big influx of golfers, or is it just something, I guess, maybe more municipal, more city courses?
Everywhere has exploded. Every sector. I think in the PGA statistics, every single department of golf is up. Equipment sales, rounds of golf, memberships, all that. I don't know one golf course that is hurting because of all this stuff. It's an outdoor activity. People can social distance. There's a million precautions that were put into place. Whether it's you don't even walk in the golf shop and touch anything, you check in on your phone, you can pay online, and to where you don't touch flag sticks, there's no bunker rakes, nothing like that. So because of all those types of things, golf is, it's exploded. I mean, we've taken on lots of new members. Probably the one thing that's slow to come back is your corporate outings and your big group tournaments. The tournaments are a lot smaller, but hopefully here in the near future, that'll all start to get back to fairly normal frequency.
Yeah, it's really weird. I was there at the Valero Open today, and it looked way different because you don't see those huge towering hospitality rooms. You see just more like tents or the traditional cabanas, and you didn't see a lot of gatherings today. And,
No.
and I think that has a lot to do with the limited amount of tickets. And it was really weird, but it was great. It was freaking great to be out there though. It was a gorgeous day out there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, we're just thrilled to have an event this year because we were 2 weeks away from the event last year.
I remember that.
Austin Country Club was fully set up and ready to go for the Dell, and that's right when things hit and they closed down a lot of the facilities and stuff with COVID restrictions and stuff. And so it's much different. The gatherings are way smaller. What you saw are like little open air cabanas.
Yep.
Where there's limited space, limited people. There's no autographs. There's no fist bumping. There's no kids area. I mean, it's a much different Valero, but it's still a Valero, and you can still watch it and stuff.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah, like I said, it's way different, but we're happy to still be having it.
And for me, it hurt me because I do a lot of stuff through a local media with Hector Ledesma and Sports Tonight.
Yeah.
And that's who I do my local media stuff with. And that's who I did with the Dell. And then this year they did it remotely, and it like broke my freaking heart. I'm just like, no, I said, my wife understands that when the Valero Open comes to town, the PGA comes to town, she gives me not a hall pass per se, but it's a golf hall pass, to where she's like, hey, she knows I'm going to be at the course. She knows I'm going to be playing golf with my buddies. She knows it's just golf for 4 straight days, and she's my wife, God bless her soul. She knows what she married. And, she kind of gives me that golf hall pass to, hey, this is your time. I know it only happens once a year. And I was crushed last year. And I actually had Coach K from UTSA, the Roadrunner team on. Yeah. And we were discussing after, because his team's been on a tear this year. They're ranked number 26 nationally, and I'm so happy for him because I'm sure Coach K from being there because the UTSA men's team practices at y'all's facilities.
Yes, yeah, we have a nice partnership with them. Mr. Coach Knauer and Coach Summer do a good job.
Summer Batista. Oh yeah.
Yeah, awesome people. They had a nice showing at the Cabo Collegiate this year, which was a really cool event that we hosted at our facility.
Yeah, y'all had some top-notch colleges there, and you had some of the country's best players. And that was I got to go on. I went on the last day, and again, I was just blessed with some beautiful weather because I'm glad I wasn't there on that first day because I heard the weather was freaking crazy.
Yeah, it was brutal the first day. What's really cool is they gave the medalist of the Cabo Collegiate, Sam Bennett from Texas A&M, they gave him an exemption into the Valero, and I actually watched him tee off this morning. So that was really neat. And you're totally right what you said before. I mean, you had Stanford, ASU, U of A, Texas A&M, UT. I mean, you had, I forget how many of the top 20 schools were at our place, but it was there was Oklahoma State. I could keep naming more of them, but yeah, there's an unbelievable amount of talent collegiately at our place for that event.
Oh, and the thing is, so I'm speaking with Coach K, and just he was so appreciative of that that Cabo, I mean, what tournament that's supposed to be in Cabo, San Lucas, was able to be played at, the home course here at TPC San Antonio. So as we talk about TPC San Antonio and the Valero Texas Open, can you tell me what's probably the toughest hole or the toughest things that some of these professional players have to deal with? Because one of the reasons why I started the show is really to get more people and to get people to really, outside of the city of San Antonio, to really respect the Valero Open. Because you know what? I hear it constantly. I'm hearing podcasts, listening to podcasts, hearing the media. A lot of the big names don't like to come here because some of them say this course is too hard, or, they're always dissing it. The media members are always dissing this tournament. And I'm just like, why? Like the hospitality is tremendous. I mean, people bring their families, the amenities here that the resort has, the course is top notch. And I always see, compared to what I saw in the Dell, I said, I think the people here and the people that make up the Valero Texas Open, they go above and beyond to host a really awesome event.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, it's a phenomenal event and has a long history and of being a quality event. I would also say that the golf course, yes, is definitely one of the harder golf courses on the PGA Tour, if you look at the stroke averages and stuff. But it's a good golf course, and I think it prepares you to play anywhere. It's back to back with the Dell Match Play, and then obviously right after the next week is the Masters and stuff. So I think you've got a sector of guys that choose to not play the week before the Masters just because it may not matter where the event is. They just probably don't want to play that week and get their game ready at maybe their home area, their home club, or somewhere where they're used to practicing. But the field this week is very, very strong. And in fact, as you saw in the news headlines, I mean, DJ was actually set to come to the event. But I mean, we've got, once you have last year, Ricky and Jordan both played, and they're back again this year. Phil Mickelson's playing. You've got really a very diverse field this year. I mean, you've got some older players, like your Jim Furyk's, Phil Mickelson's that are here this year, but you have a lot of young players that are playing as well. And then, we've got a guy from North Dakota in the field too.
Man, y'all are like the bubonic plague. Y'all are everywhere.
We're like an old penny. We won't go away.
Damn, man, I haven't heard that saying in a long time, man.
But yeah, we've got Tom Hoagie's from Fargo, North Dakota, and I know Tom pretty well, and
he struggled a little bit. He struggled out there today. We were watching him play. He struggled. He had a hard time, especially we were there on 17 and we saw him. He was trying to get up and down, and we saw him miss like a 5-footer to save par. And it was kind of lipped in and out. And hey, you look good with that pink shirt, though. I mean, man, he was styling though. He was representing North Dakota well.
He finished. I mean, he's tied for 7th. He shot 4 under, but like just for example, you've got Hideki's playing kind of right in that group, and you've got Scotty Scheffler and stuff. So you got some guys that are fairly fresh out of college and stuff. But Matt Kuchar's playing. He always seems to play pretty well here.
People love him. People love to go Cooch. They love him over here. Maybe hopefully they haven't seen him tip or anything around town, at the restaurants or anything. And maybe, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. He actually, it's funny you bring that up. There's, like I said, if you just go down the field this year, it's very diverse, and it's going to be interesting to see who finishes, in the top and stuff. And it's nice to see Jordan get off to a really good start. I watched him play a couple of holes, and he looked really good. So it was.
He did. I got some questions right here. Okay. And sometimes they don't show up just because they're not logged on here. But I have my buddy Dennis. He said, who does Greg have winning it all this year? Spieth is due for one. So who do you think, after just watching today, who do you say has probably a good chance to win the VTO this year?
Well, it would be hard not to put Jordan in your top 5 list. He got off to a good start, but he didn't finish strong. But Abraham Answer, there's a lot of eyes on him.
Yes, man, he's a stud.
Yep, he's a great player, great guy. I get to see Abraham some and visit with him, and I could definitely see him coming from behind and playing good again. So I would say, Hideki would be another one that I would kind of keep in mind too. Here's like maybe one of your more seasoned players. Padraig Harrington played good. I mean, he's at 2 under, and he's a grinder. And so I think our weather is probably going to be pretty decent. But if the weather wasn't going to be good, I would not bet against like a European to play well, just because they're very, very diverse guys and they can overcome a lot of bad conditions.
I totally agree, especially playing in those open conditions. Well, let me before we get into the course, before we get into the Oaks course there out at TPC San Antonio, let me tell you a little story about Padraig Harrington, right? So it was our first time it was my buddies and I first time being out there at TPC San Antonio at the Valero Open. I think it was about maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I think, and we're at the 16th hole, and you know how rowdy the 16th hole can get. Maybe not this year, but hey, we're in the hospitality tents. The drinks are flowing. Everyone's feeling good, right? Well, Padraig Harrington's coming off of the 16th hole, right? And normally how they have has like a little tunnel, I guess, right? How the players can kind of walk through, right?
Yeah.
And he goes into the porta potty. And he's taking a long time. Like he's taking a long time. I can't remember his 2 playing partners. His 2 playing partners are like, "Hey, like, what's up with this guy? Like, come on." And so we noticed this. And as he comes out, we're giving him the business. I mean, we're just letting him have it. I mean, like, "Hey, man, did everything come out all right? Hey, you got some toilet paper stuck to the bottom of your spikes?" Oh man, we were just giving him such a hard time, right? Well, then later on in the round, my buddies and I were waiting outside of the players' locker room and not knowing it was the players' locker room because we're waiting for the VIP shuttles to take us off back to our vehicles, right? Well, look who comes out of the
Padraig Harrington.
Padraig Harrington, and we're like this. They were like, "Who do you know?" I was like, "Guess who it is? Our buddy Patty," and we're just again like. Oh, we were just giving him such a hard. It was like it was our first time there, but his face was just like priceless,
That's funny. That I could see him throwing it right back at you. So
he didn't. He can tell he was a little bit caught off guard because we were kind of praising him, but at the same time, giving him the business. But all in all, he was a good sport because really, like, somebody could have smacked me and my buddies and I around like big time. Okay, so right now, going back to the Valero Texas Open, we have Camilo Villegas. He's at the lead at -8. Now, like you stated earlier about the weather and things like that, what also kind of comes to play, and where is really the tournament kind of won and lost out there at the Oaks course?
I feel like that course favors people who drive the ball and control the ball really well. I think the par 4s are kind of the holes that, I don't know, I feel like they can kind of make or break you. The number 1s, the number 9s, holes like that where you've got to step up, you've got to hit a good drive, and then you have to put it on the right part of the green. And that golf course really, it doesn't really let up at all on a lot of the holes. And so 15 is another example of another really good par 4. I think 15 is actually the highest scoring par 4 on the golf course. And so I feel like if the guys drive the ball well and control their irons, that really sets the stage for a good round.
Now, I'm going to pull up a couple of pictures here of the 18th hole here at the Oaks course.
Okay.
Now you have it's a gorgeous, you got a gorgeous view here. You got the JW Marriott Resort in the background. You have the Valero hospitality booth behind the green, and then we have right here here's another shot of it from the water and from that little creek right there. Now, as being not only a teaching professional but a playing professional, how would you attack that? Because I've actually been there and seen some. I was there for a Skins game. And you know how there's a lot of leagues come out there for Skins games. Well, we're out there for a Skins game during the COVID time. And I think, is it Patty, one of the ladies that works there? Is that her name?
Patty Rutherford?
Yes, Patty Rutherford, right? And so we're there and the resort shut down. And, we're there waiting on the 18th green, and Patty's, giving us these cards to come back and play, thanking us, for especially being there and, supporting the resort and the course during a rough period. Right.
Yeah.
And so, well, these guys had tied in this round. Right. And it was $1,000 match. Well, they said, you know what? Hey, we got to play a tiebreaker. Let's go back and play the 18th hole again for $1,000. Let's play from the tips. All right. And these are these guys. I think one of the guys was an assistant pro at the Bandit, and another guy worked at Briggs. Right. And I'm not going to say their names, just so hey, protect the innocent or the guilty, protect the guilty too. Right? And so they go back to the tips. They hit driver, and they're both in the fairway, and they both go for the green in 2, and they get on, and they're both have eagle putts. One is slightly on the fringe, and the other one's probably about 12 feet away from an eagle putt. And I'm just thinking, hey, these guys, they're not PGA guys. They're not PGA professionals. There's some guys that can just really go at it, and they're on in 2, And so I'm like, how come these professional PGA players aren't always on there in 2?
I think mostly because of what the hole kind of has to offer. It's not a lot of guys who go for that green in 2 ever get it on the green. I think statistically it's really low for them even to just keep it on the green, let alone get there in 2. And a lot of it depends on the wind. North wind, getting home in 2 is but then if the guys can just place the ball at a desired yardage coming in, where they can have a wedge in their hand, they can control the flight and the spin of it. 5's the worst they're going to make anyway. So there's you can make a lot of weird numbers by trying to go for that green in 2. And in fact, I was actually there on 18 watching Charlie Hoffman when he won one year. He tried to go for it in 2. He hit it in the back bunker. He got up and down on the back bunker.
Yeah, I remember that.
But in a lot of those cases, you're short-sighted and it's going to be hard to get the ball close. But, you got to look at it too. They're some of the best players in the world. So they would have the ability to get it close if anybody would.
Totally agree with you. Now, as the wind does become more of a play as the tournament goes on, because it really seems like that's really kind of where people start to get their game and start to see those higher numbers, start to see those reds, start to see those black. Some players are able to handle it a lot better. You did state that people that are able to drive the ball and drive it well. After Camilo Villegas and Jordan Spieth, who's that next maybe sleeper guy you wouldn't be surprised to win this tournament? Because you know what? I always want a big name to win this tournament. I always do. And then you have the Corey Connors. You have, the Stephen Bodwiches. And I'm just like, no, I want Ricky to win. I want Jordan. I want a big name to win and to give this tournament more like notoriety.
I don't know. I guess, there's a lot of pretty notables that are up there. I mean, I'm kind of stuck on Hideki a little bit just because I watched him hit a few balls. He was swinging very well. I watched him play probably like a hole and a half. Got to cheer for some of my home folks. Tom Hoagie, he's a really good iron player, and he putts the ball well too. So those two things would lend himself to putting himself in contention. I don't think some of the bigger names were really up there. I didn't see where Phil finished today. I know Ricky Fowler didn't play the best. Ryan Moore is another one who he's kind of taken off and played real well and kind of climbed up the leaderboard fast.
I think Phil was at +2, and Ricky did not do well. And so a lot of we love Ricky. I mean, hey, we call him BDR. That's what he goes by around here with my boys and I. And we love him. And plus, he is not a big guy, because I was so close to getting some Q&A with him last year, and I was just like, I was looking eye to eye with him, and I was just like, you know what, you're a little guy, like you're a little dude. I like you even more.
Yeah,
he's not a towering dude.
No, he's a guard. He's not even a power forward.
He's not even small forward. Not even small forward. Well, I got one of the questions that isn't popping up here on my screen.
Okay.
But here it is. Okay, right here. I think it's from my buddy, from one of the guys, Charlie, He says, what do you think about Ricky's recent play and him potentially missing the Masters?
Yeah. I like anybody else, Ricky's hard not to like. And there's some things that are going on maybe behind the scenes that we don't know. Maybe there's some swing changes, or maybe he's working with some different equipment or something that we don't know a lot about. I know there was some stuff in the news early in the year where he was working with some different irons and things. Don't know if some of that's part of his plan, but yeah, it's hard not to. Everybody likes Ricky and would like to see him do well and win, and so yeah, I'd love to see him play in the Masters and play well here. So.
Yeah, we love him. It's just, I think for us, I mean, I say us because I like to think I'm not so removed from the younger crowd. I'm 41 years old, but my wife says I have like the maturity level of a 13-year-old boy. And so, I'd like to think it's my immaturity that really keeps me young and keeps me close to the young kids, right? The new generation. But Ricky is kind of like our, or maybe the Elderman group of golf, like our Arnold Palmer. He's just a great ambassador for the game. Everybody loves him, and he's so likable. But as I'm listening to these podcasts, reading these articles, it's kind of like getting old with some of these these golf guys. They're like, no, they want to see him come out. They want to see him just, hey, what we always like to say, like grind. They want to see him just grind, fight it out, say he's pissed off, say that he's upset, or say that, that he wants to do better or wants to really get after it. We really want to see some emotion out of him. And it just, he kind of does the dance, the dog and pony show for the media. And, a lot of guys out there just really want to see him just get his game back on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm confident that he will. It's just a question of when. And so, but there's 3 days left in the golf tournament. If he can potentially play, real well tomorrow and make a move, then, the sky's the limit for the weekend. Because, you got basically 2 tournaments in one in every professional event. You've got your first couple of days, and then you've got the stuff that happens on the weekend. And some guys can make a move, and Ricky is definitely one of them.
Now, as you watch these professional players, and I know you're always there, I always bump into you. You're working in the merchandise stand. You're on the course. You're on the range. You're always there. Now, how has the game of golf really affected your family? I know you got a beautiful family. You got a great looking family there. And how does your wife and kids really? Because when you're in the golf industry, if you're not on the course, you're not successful.
Yeah, it's there's no lie that there's a lot of hours in the golf business, and part of it's just because of the love that we have for the game and stuff, to be a part of it at different capacities and stuff. But they get it. That's all they've known is me as a golfer. My wife didn't play golf before she met me, so the game, she came into the game late and stuff. But my kids love it, and they like to play as well. But they're also into a lot of other things too, which I like to see. Other activities and sports and scouts and things like that. So, it's fun to kind of be in the mix like that and get to spend that time together and stuff. So that's something that, you can always kind of cherish as you get older.
And I totally understand that. As being a teacher and a coach, yes, I do coach my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter at times in some sports, but I like it when they do something that I'm not too familiar with. My oldest daughter, she's really starting to get into Olympic powerlifting or Olympic lifting, and then my youngest daughter, she likes to do gymnastics and cheer and all that stuff, and I'm just like, those are 2 things that I just go the opposite direction in, and it's really nice to kind of just not, I guess, because I'm sure you know how it is when you're with your kids. You could give them one thing, they don't listen to it, but a total stranger can tell them the exact same thing and they listen to it, and you're like, this is what I've been telling you this whole time.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty lucky like that. My kids really don't fight my instruction. I know that's not always the case with either other golf professionals with kids or just dads in general that love golf and are trying to help their children. I've been lucky. So my kids I've helped them they've listened to me well. And that's not to say I'm always right. I'm just trying to do the best I can for their golf games and stuff. So it's good.
All right. Besides being a really good teaching professional, because you've really gone up the ranks. I remember when San Pedro was, before it got redone, it was just a little shack, a little range, and a little par 3 course. You were out there constantly. And it seems like you've really gotten to a really good position here in town. I've seen you on TV. I've seen you doing little ads, little clips, working with the University of Incarnate Word girls. I've seen you, constantly working with some great talent. What do you think are some of the things, some of the breaks you got along the way to get you from, say, a San Pedro all the way to a TPC San Antonio to being director of instruction?
Yeah, I would say just coming from a good pedigree of facilities that helped me a lot. I was able to work and learn a lot from Bill Rogers. When I first came to town, I was actually trying to play professionally, but I watched him as a person and as a golf professional and as a past playing professional. I learned a tremendous amount of stuff from Bill. That helped me a lot. And then also just locally, Jim Barker was a big help to me as I was kind of getting into the teaching and stuff. I watched, Jim kind of watched me get started and was able to kind of give me some good counsel and stuff. And then I've got, a golf professional from my home area. His name's John Dahl. He's been a big influence on me as well. And so I've just tried to get lucky with, bettering myself with whether it's an Aim Point Express greens reading certification, or whether it's trying to learn how to be proficient at TrackMan or be a club fitter or whatever it is. I just try to kind of get myself involved in the different parts of the game that are all encompassing in somebody's golf game and use that stuff to help people play better.
I was, in doing some research on you, I did see that, you're a certified fitter for Ping, for Callaway, for Titleist. And how does that come about? Do you have to take like some certification courses, or do you have to do like some work with one of their master fitters, or how does that come to be?
Yeah. Well, for example, when I did some work for Ping, that was basically, I just worked alongside of a rep, and they show you kind of how to fit using the Ping protocols, and which I don't know if they still train guys the same way like that. But when I became like a master fitter for Callaway, I actually went to Carlsbad and went through a course, and you're tested and you do fits. And I was lucky enough to, what was really a cool story was the guy that I got to learn some from, and I got to fit him, and then he fit me and kind of tested me, was the guy who fits Phil Mickelson. So we got to share some knowledge and with each other, and he was phenomenal to visit with. And so that's an example of something that's kind of a formal training and stuff. So that's, having that experience with Callaway and stuff was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad you said Callaway, because that's what I play. I play Mizuno irons. I have an Adele putter, and I have Callaway. I'm still rocking the Maverick. I'm not ready yet for the speed. I'm not ready yet for the epic speed just yet. I'm having a love affair with my Maverick and the shaft that I have for it. It's a, man, what is it? Oh, it's a smoke. It's a smoke, the black smoke, So it's like the perfect combo right now. So like I'm good right now. So but I love the products. I love Callaway products. I like them a lot better than I used to be with TaylorMade. And TaylorMade just puts out too many little, like, they have this version, they have this series, and I'm just like, I don't know. And you've played a lot. You were one of the Nike guys. You were one of the Nike guys, when Nike was cool,
That's right. I came to Nike at a good time when they had a pretty good ball. They had clubs. Probably their Achilles heel, I felt like, was their woods. They started coming out with some decent wood stuff, and then all of a sudden the lights went out. Nike got out of the golf business, or the hard goods business.
Shoot, man. Okay, I remember at San Pedro, right? Because where your little office was and the gripping, where y'all did the re-gripping and stuff. Sure. I remember you had a little Nike display of balls, and whenever I would go in there, I'd be like, "Hey, Greg, can I have a?" Because I think they were like sleeves. They were like trial sleeves, right? Of golf balls, and I'd be like, "Greg, can I get?" And you're like, "Yeah," and it was like every other day, I'd be like, "Hey, Greg, can I?" And you're like, "Yeah, go for it." And then I'm like, man. Greg's really cool, So it was like I think I still have a couple of those damn sleeves. Imagine that's how long ago, it was. It was like what was that when you were there at San Pedro? How many years ago was that?
Let's see. I've been with TPC about 4.5 years, so that was probably like right around 5 years ago.
Yeah. Now, when I told several people in the game of golf that I was going to have you on the show, and they knew that you were coming up, I was getting these stories and this, that, and the other, left and right, that Greg can go. Greg is one of the best players in San Antonio. And then I have this talk with guys like Ray Garza, Chris Dingman, Mac Wiley. I'm speaking to all these guys, Christy Cano, and I think Michelle Castillo, because I know she used to work for you.
Yeah.
And the word around town is that you're one of the top players still in San Antonio. I try
to still stay competitive. I don't play to the level I'd like. When you tried to play at a high level and you don't play as much as you used to, you always kind of have a desire to still play at the level you once did. But I enjoy just the pursuit of perfection and trying to play good. So I at least stay reasonably competitive in the Southern Texas PGA. So, whether it's trying to get in the National Club Professional Championship or Texas State Open or whatever, it's the pursuit's fun. It's a fun journey.
And I remember one year, I think it was when you were still at San Pedro, you had qualified, I guess, to be like at one of the professional tournament, to go to make the U.S. Open as a playing professional. And I remember, man, we were all rooting for you so hard. I mean, and it's so nice to speak with you, because you are super down to earth, and you have a golf game that can really go at it. And I want to know, what's the most side cash that you've ever played for?
Side, or you mean like mini tour money, or just betting on the side?
Betting on the side.
Betting on the side. It's not really that crazy of an amount. It's probably been like $400 or $500 when we've had some kind of a wolf game or something amongst us. But I feel like there's about 3 different kinds of golfers out there that are, call them golf pros or whatever. I think there's guys that play in tournaments. There's guys that can play good in gambling games. And I think there's guys that can play good in like multi-day events. And I was, I'll just be honest, I was never really that awesome of a gambler. Some guys I knew were great at that, but I wanted to condition my game to be 3 rounds, 4 rounds, a steady, kind of, I'm there for the marathon, I'm not there for the sprint type thing. So yeah, I got involved in some games, but not a lot. But yeah. No cool, exciting stories.
No, I'm like, man,
I
want the juice. I want you to give me some. Gosh, you know what? Hey, sorry guys, podcast is over.
I actually did have a fun time one time. It was me and a college teammate. We played against they came out to Starkey Park in Seguin, and all I remember is one guy's name was Chili Pepper, and we played it was 20 on the front, 20 on the total, and 20 on the back. And we ended up, we like birdied the last hole to split the whole deal. And, that was kind of funky because there was like some other guys like walking along, following them. And, it was, man, we didn't know what was going on. We just tried to play good golf and, not go home too beat up. And it was fun. We had a few games like that. So where these people are today, we don't know.
Well, hey, they're out there. I'm telling you, I'm part of these games. We played, my buddy Jeremiah and I, we played, and that's one thing, as being in this podcast and really trying to like taking the plunge into playing with others and playing all different types of games. I've learned bingo, bango, bongo. I've learned 3-card or whatever, 3-putt poker. I've learned all these different games, and and all these different types of action, side action, snakes, like I hate snakes. My friends call me Andy Putts, and it's because I'm not a good putter, And so I've really seen some of those characters, like you see those guys, the guys that don't play well, but they're somebody's they're their backer, they're their better, right? And then and then you see those guys that just, hey, they just want to go along for the ride. And then you see those guys that, hey, they're the hustlers. They're the ones that they come dressed looking like crap, but then, man, they'll go like 4 under, and they try to hustle you in. And I'm just like, I said, dude, I don't gamble that much because I'm not good. I'll do like a $5 Nassau, or I'll do a 10-10-10 or a 20-20-20 with somebody like around. I'm in like an 11-12 handicap, and so I have no problem going up against a 10 or even an 8. But who do you think is maybe one of the best players in the city that maybe people don't know about that you've seen play?
I'll tell you, a guy who's played really good golf for a long time is John Pierce. I've played in. I used to play in these little mini tour events around town when I was first getting started, and I would get paired with John a lot. He played as an amateur, but he liked to compete and do all that. And John's played a lot of good golf. Chuck Ellenwood's played good golf. Alan Hill's played good. I mean, there's some. The Meisner boys are good play. In fact, one of them's in the field this week. So
Mac. Mac. He's a stud.
Yeah. He's got a ton of talent, and so there's a lot of talent out there. I mean, Johnny Kiefers goes to Baylor, and he's one of our members at TPC, and Johnny's got a ton of talent too, and so there's a lot of game around.
Now, I've seen you work with a lot of like youth golfers there at y'all's facility. Now, has there been any maybe stellar athlete or golfer that you've coached that is doing some good things, or that you see is just on, going to do something special in the game of golf?
I think there's some young kids that I'm helping at our club that, they're not even in high school or anything yet, but they've got lots and lots of talent. I could see some really good things coming out of them. To really cultivate talent, you've got to be at a place for quite a while. And, I haven't been there that long, but, once you get to 8 or 10 years of being there, you've been there long enough to have some people go from middle school to high school to college, or or kind of work their way up like that. And, a few more years, maybe I'll have touched enough games of different people, whether it's middle schoolers or high schoolers or collegiate players that I can help them have some more success and stuff. So it's coming. You just have to, to me, you just have to be patient and help people as best you can and let the results of their game kind of speak for themselves.
Well, I think you're doing that because in speaking, and talking with several people that know you well, I'm like, give me something that people don't know about Greg. And I said, well, a lot of people don't know about Greg. Is it because he keeps so much to himself? And, and that's why I thought it was so important to have you on, because, man, you're one of the most talented guys, not only playing, but, your reputation. Everybody, I'm trying to find somebody that can say something bad about you. I'm not finding them. I'm not finding them.
Mean enough. It's like one of my bosses told me one time. He came in when I was working for Jim Roshak. He came into the golf shop and he goes, "Greg, come on, fire somebody." So anyway, it was funny.
Well, I want to see that. Yeah, I was like, I'd love to be there at the course when that happens. So if you're gonna do it, make sure I'm there, and I want to see it. All right, okay, a little bit lighter side of golf. All right, favorite golf movie?
Oh gosh, Caddyshack. Yes.
Favorite character?
Bill Murray, Carl.
Oh yeah, Carl Spackler. All right, that's okay. Carl Spackler. Now, I know you know Ben Kern, right? Ben. Do you know Ben Kern well, or do you just know him from seeing him at the?
Yeah, from seeing him at the Southern Texas PGA events. Yeah.
Well, he played at Kansas State when he was in college, and Bill Murray's brother was playing at the course that he was working at, and sure enough, who pops up? Bill Murray, right? And so, it was a private course. And so, he tells a story that he was waiting for, hopefully Bill Murray would give him a tip. And then what does Bill Murray do? Bill Murray gives him the line from Caddyshack, about the llama, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like, okay, not cool, whatever. And then B said Bill Murray's brother was just like dying laughing that, that Bill Murray did this to like a kid there at the course,
That's hysterical.
Yeah, and I'm just like, damn, it's small world, because hey, that is a great golf movie. Favorite course here in the San Antonio or South Texas area?
Oh gosh, I'm very partial to the Oaks, not just because I work there, but I like the Oaks course. I also like San Antonio Country Club a lot. I think it's a beautiful old style golf course that was renovated just in an awesome way that like only clubs of that stature and that age can do it. Like when they go from the green right to the fringe to the next tee box and it's all closely mown like that. I love things like that's really cool.
I love the layout. I've never played there, but I've been there for the UTSA women's golf tournament, the Mary B. Koth Invitational. And it looks like a tough track. It looks like you have to really be precise with your shots, and you have to really kind of play like, set up. It's kind of like in pool. You have to really set up the cue ball for the next shot.
Yeah. The shots into the greens are very much like that. A course that I really liked a lot too when I first was coming to college here and stuff, it had just been renovated, was Pecan Valley. And that was a golf course that you walked off that going, holy cow, I can see why they played a PGA here, just because at the time it was in such great shape. They were getting ready for, I think, the US Pub Links. They were hosting it. And, there's a lot of, older folks, the Frank Connors and stuff, the Jim Barkers, the guys, they played so much, that place created a lot of good players.
Well, the guy I had on last week, and maybe you know him, his name's Arnie Martinez.
Yes.
From Our Lady of the Lake. Again, to piggyback on what you're saying about Pecan Valley, he said that's where he honed his game. That's where he was washing carts. He was doing whatever it took to get free golf, and that's where he honed his game at. And it was a travesty that course, was just let go.
Yeah.
And again, because with having major championship history, and it stinks because again, he was from the south side or really west side, but the courses being on the south side now that the Republic's gone, and then there's no more Pecan Valley, and it stinks that there's just really Mission del Lago out there, and a lot of people were heartbroken. I know my dad was heartbroken because before Mission del Lago and before Republic were open, Pecan Valley was the first course coming into town from Corpus. Yep. And so that's where a lot of the guys, when they had money, would go and play.
Yeah, but yeah, the Oaks and San Antonio Country Club would be the two courses that I'm the most fond of.
Now, I think Sergio and Greg Norman, they did an awesome job at the Oaks. It's so tough. We played one time, and I remember I think y'all let the rough grow so thick that I almost wanted to quit. It was like I can't remember what hole it was. It was a par 3, and I had already taken like 3 freaking swings in the damn rough. My ball stayed in there. It only went like 20 feet, 20 feet, and I was just like, you know what? If I didn't pay an arm and a leg to play there, I was going to tell the guys, just guys. Take me to the velocity bar. Take me over there to Cibolo Moon. Just drop me off over there. I should have just paid my damn green fee and steaks and bourbon from the bar over there.
It does that to a lot of people, by the way. Yes.
Oh man, we got some good questions. Okay, guys want to know what's in the bag, Greg. What do you got in your bag right now?
Okay. Well, I'm a Callaway staff member, so I'm playing the Epic Speed Max LS driver. I'm playing a Epic Speed fairway wood, Apex hybrid, and then I'm actually playing the Apex Pro 19 irons. I'm going to be switching to some new Apexes here, fairly soon. But and then wedges, I've got Jaws wedges and a Toulon putter. So it's a Toulon Las Vegas putter is what I've been putting with for a while.
All right, man. I was like, that's what I like. I really like about this setup. I mean, for being 41 years old, StreamYard is who I use to do this. They make it so easy and they make it so cool for, an idiot like me to like produce a show.
Yeah.
And so, but I do like is that we have like a lot of the, the interaction from the fans, and that's what makes it really cool. All right. Who are you playing your last round of golf with?
Oh gosh, if I could play with somebody on my last round, I would probably put together a foursome of people that have been, the most influential to me. I would probably play with honestly, I'd probably play with Bill Rogers, John Dahl, and Jim Barker, just for the people that kind of gave me so much of their wisdom and counsel and stuff getting into golf. That would be tough to. That's a tough question, actually.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. We've had a lot of good answers, and I like that. It's because I always say this, and I'm not trying to name drop, but I had Matt Janella on the show. From the Golf Channel, or formerly, of the Golf Channel, and he's he was the golf destination guy. And he played all over the world. And I asked him, I said, well, what's your favorite round of golf? Like, what was your best round of golf? And he tells me, he just starts, he couldn't answer me. He said, because it's always really about that moment. It's always about the people like you're surrounded by. Mm-hmm. And it's not about where you are, or he said probably where you are could play a part in it. Like let's say you're at Whistling Straits, or you're at Pebble Beach, or you're at Coronado, or you're at Torrey Pines, or the Old Course, or even Augusta. He said a lot has to do with the people you're with and what's going on at that exact moment.
Yeah.
And hearing that guy say that, it changed really my outlook on it. And then hearing you say about the guys that really like mentored you and gave you kind of like your chops in the game, that makes me really excited, and it gives me all those vibes and the feels that I try to get when I'm doing this show, because I do this show. I'm thankful like for the followers and the viewers of it and the listeners, but you know what? I really do it for me, because it's a way to stay close to my dad. And when I can't be on the course, this is like keeps me. I'm on the course right now because I'm talking with you.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think it was, it might be at Carlton Woods Fazio in Houston. Tom Fazio puts a quote on the back of the card, and it says, "I don't believe in signature holes. I believe in creating the best experiences on every hole." So I kind of was taken back by that quote. Some of these guys, they, as I get a little older, I have more of some of these things that these architects and stuff say, because it's very insightful.
Man, that's great. That's what I want to hear. I didn't get a chance to play the Fazio course. We were set up to play it, but something happened and we had to play the Nicklaus course instead.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Oh, it was great. It was a great experience. I played with it was a great foursome that we had, and I actually had some birdies too. And I had a lot of birdie juice that day as well. It made it even better. But hey, I wanted to really thank you, Greg. Thanks so much for being on the show. I just got one more question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
What's your best golf memory?
My best golf memory. I would say one of my best golf memories is kind of a quirky story, but it was when I played a practice round in the U.S. Open. It was in between two rounds of golf. It just kind of shows you how fickle the game can be. I teed it up with Stuart Appleby and went out and played with him, and he hit it is absolutely as good as I've ever seen anybody hit a golf ball. And I got back to the hotel room that night, and I told my wife, I said, "Oh my God, this guy hits the ball better than I've ever seen anybody hit it. I think he's going to win this thing." Then the next day I get out there and I play with Colin Montgomery, and he kind of scrapes it around for about 6 or 7 holes and then starts to get his game going. And we were actually supposed to play with Bernhard Longer as well, but he was having some back spasms and stuff, and I really would have enjoyed playing with him as well. But anyway, get done playing with Colin, and I'm like, holy cow, this guy, he didn't hit it that good, man. He's like all these order of merit, player in the European Tour. Man, I don't know about this. I don't think he's even going to make the cut. Well, he had a top 5, and Stuart Appleby missed the cut. So that just tells you.
That tells you.
I got done with that tournament. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not a betting guy, because I'd be 0 for 2 right now. And so I just remember, taking all that stuff in, and then kind of getting home and sitting down with Bill and kind of, recapping on the way, what could I have done better and things like that. So that's probably one of my best golf memories. I've got a lot of good ones, but that was a good one.
Well, you've done a lot of things that guys like us want to do, hack golfers like us, because when I'm out there and I'm practicing on the range, I'm like, I want to be on the Hooters tour. I'm going to make the Hooters tour. I know it doesn't exist no more, or the Nike tour, or the Nike tour. I'm going to make the Nike tour. Yeah, that's, like, those are some of my goals. That should tell you how much I'm dating myself, with this, because I remember those places. I remember the Hooters tour. I remember the Nike tour.
Yeah.
I remember those small tours that's me. I'm going to be there one day. I'm going to make it one day. But hey, thanks again so much, Greg, man. I appreciate your insight. Man, I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people, and you say that about how Stuart Appleby was such a solid hitter, but I've heard that so many times from other people and your peers and coworkers and people that you've mentored, that they say nobody here in town hits it sweeter than GregHiller. And he said he did, like, the way he compresses the ball, his swing, it's kind of like maybe like a throwback swing, and a little bit more old fashioned. And it's just they say to see and to watch you swing, it's sweet. And man, I appreciate you being on the show today.
Yeah, Andy, this was a lot of fun. I'd be happy to come on some other time if you'll have me. But yeah, I love the questions, and it was good. And I like the viewers kind of chiming in with the comments and questions. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm sure they want to, because you know what? I have to bribe them, right? So, because I'm giving away 4 tickets to tomorrow's round.
You're not giving away those Nike balls, are you?
Hey, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting, man. I'm still holding on to those. I'm still holding on to those for that one round. For that one round that I go to, that I play it at Briggs, or that I play at Cordillera. Where I get those courses that those top-notch courses.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really appreciate you having me, and I always like tuning into your show and kind of keeping an eye on you on Facebook as well. You're doing a great job with all this stuff, and keep up the good work.
Well, thanks, man. Did you have any questions or anything for me?
The one thing that I would say is, whatever prompted you to start a show like this? Did you always kind of have a broadcasting sort of desire, or what was it?
Well, no, because you know what? I watch a lot of the Barstool foreplay guys, and I like them, but they talk, like, their show is probably about an hour, maybe almost 2 hours. And they do, I love, don't get me wrong, I love dick and fart jokes. I love dick and fart jokes. I'm a guy, come on. But you know what? Like, I like it when it's about the golf, or I like it when they have somebody on for an interview. And my dad, and I said this for people that have watched this show a lot, I say it constantly, but I don't care. It's my show. And I didn't have the best relationship with my dad growing up. And as we've gotten older, and we put a lot of our, foolishness and whatever bad blood that we had or animosity aside, the thing that really got us through some of the rough patches has been the game of golf.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you know the drill. You're out there 4 or 5 hours. And then if you go out and maybe have some drinks, have some dinner, and then talking about the round and just kind of, just shooting it, it was a really great way for him and I to really put the past in the past and to really build our relationship. And I'm so thankful for it. It's just, I felt like every time we play around, I felt like I got some of the years back that I had so much hatred towards him. And, getting real personal and emotional about it is just, this game, I felt like it saved us. It saved our relationship. And so I love the way it's kind of like a golf swing. I hate to see myself swing, but I love to hear I hate to hear myself on the radio or, on the podcast or anything, but I love to hear my guest responses, their stories and their answers. Cause it keeps me like I stated, on the course. And so it keeps me like close to my dad. And I love this, man. I love this game. And it's done such a lot of great things for so many people.
Yeah, you could say that again. It doesn't. I mean, perfect example of what you just said is I'm playing on the Dakotas tour, a bunch of years ago, and I'm standing on the tee box, and we're waiting for, it's like, two groups backed up, and then there's me, who came from, didn't come from a lot, small town course and all that, and then we were playing in threesomes at the time. Another guy in my group, he grew up at a country club, had lessons his whole life, went to a Division I school. And then another guy, I'll never forget, he dropped out of junior college and he had just gotten fired from Foot Locker, and he scraped up whatever money he had and he turned pro and he started playing. Here's all three guys from three different walks of life standing on a tee box competing. No other game can do that like that. So that's kind of the crazy part.
I totally agree with you. I do some work for Fairways for Warriors, and one of the things that my first day there with them, I was they had me, hey man, come on in with the conference call so you can hear us in a conference call with our chapter in Florida. And the guy at the time was running it. His name was Clay, and the guy that's running it now, his name is Steven Escobedo. Beto. And Steve, and he's a good buddy of mine. He's a Marine. My dad's a Marine. Yeah. And they were talking about how many lives are lost, for veterans by suicide. And I couldn't tell you, I don't want to tell you the wrong statistic, but it was just alarming. And I think my dad fought in Vietnam. He said he was ridiculed when he came back for being a soldier at the time and fighting in a war that nobody wanted to fight, according to everybody when he came back home. I think without him knowing it, I think the game of golf was his therapy without him knowing it. Yeah. And I think what the game of golf has done, what I see for Fairways for Warriors, man, it saves lives. It gets people active. It gives them a purpose if maybe they don't have any. It's camaraderie, and it's just like I'm trying to grow this game here in San Antonio. And one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to start this show is that Dave Roberts is a good dude. I love Dave. He's a great guy. I interviewed his son Ty. Yeah. And you know what? Their show, they have to make money. They have to make money. And I'm really trying to showcase a lot of what's here in town. We've got a lot of great golf, and I don't think a lot of people in the state or around the city know that. We are a destination place for golf. We are. We got Brack. We got such a charming freaking course with so much history in Brack. We got TPC San Antonio that's got the two courses, the Oaks and the Canyons, that's got great amenities, water slide for the family, everything. The nightlife, it's awesome. We do so many staycations out there. And then just down the street, you got Canyon Springs. We have all the different types of terrains. You got Cedar Creek. We have it all. You know that, Greg. We have it all here around this town. And I'm really trying to help Dave and those guys. I'm trying to help Andy Everett because you know what? I'm trying to help those guys because golf is it's a saving grace for a lot of people. And like I stated, it saved my dad and I's relationship. And I think it can do it for somebody else. And it can help those guys, for people just whether they're soldiers or they're not, it really helps you put those stress towards other things. Yeah,
I totally agree.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it so much. And if there's anything you ever need me to do, you need me to pump one of your students or anything you got going on, please let me know, man. I really appreciate you being on the show.
You're very welcome. And same to you, Andy. If you ever need anything, let me know.
All right. Thanks, Greg. You have a good night.
All right. You too.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed the show. I'm sorry if I get a little emotion lotion sometimes. It's just, I do. I love this game. It's such a great game. It really teaches you a lot about yourself. I tell that to my kids. I had a golf tournament with my kids this past week at my school, at Blessed Sacrament Catholic School. And it was awesome to see them out there. And I told the kids, I said, hey, don't cheat yourself. If you got a 5, write down you got a 5. If you got a 6, you got a 6. Hey, if you have to pick up, pick up. Don't cheat yourself because at the end of the day, you're the only one lying to yourself. And I think I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional, but man, this game really teaches you. The term is grind. That can you grind? Can you grind? Can you get yourself out of a bad situation? Can you get yourself out of a tough situation? Can you be truthful when it's time to be truthful? Are you going to use that foot wedge? Are you going to improve your lie? Or are you going to say you got a par when you really got a bogey? This is a great game, man. It's just a freaking great game. I love it. And I'm really trying to get guys like Greg, Arnie, Robert Vasquez, Ray Garza. I'm really trying to get those guys, their names out there. I mean, we have so much great golf, so many great personalities. I don't know. I don't see. Oh, thank you, Daniel. Daniel, awesome show. The real emotion is the best part of the show. Hey, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it, man. Miss you, dude. Miss you, man. Stay safe out there, dude. Thank you for protecting us out there. It's awesome. All right, guys. Just the last thing I'm going to finish out with. I know several of y'all are waiting to see. It did, bro. Hey, that's right. Brought our family together. James and Naya. Hey, James. That's what the game does, man. That's what this game does. It brings people together. And whether it's with the cold one and the stogie, even better, right, James? Even better. I want to give a little shout out, okay, guys? I want to give a little shout out to one I know him. He's a good young man. I don't know. Hopefully the picture comes out really good. It's blocking me, but oh well. This is Jesse Jr., Jesse Cardenas Jr. He's a freshman out at Bandera High School in Bandera, Texas. This kid is a freaking stud. Not only is he a great young man, great manners, comes from a great family, great upbringing, tough upbringing. He rides bulls. He plays basketball. He plays football. He was a starting running back as a freshman on varsity, but he can tear it up on the golf course as well. He just made it into the regionals, representing his team, finishing second in his tournament. I want to give a shout out. He's a freshman. He's a stud. Put him on the map. Put him on the map. College coaches, anybody out there? Jesse Cardenas Jr., a.k.a. Day, and great kid. Can go at it. But, hey, Day, I'm coming after you. You heard that, Jeremiah? I'm coming after him, all right? This guy is always whooped me. Him and his dad, the two-man team, they always gang up on me. So we're going to get him next time. Jeremiah, mark my words. We're coming after you, Day. Hey, man, I'm so proud of you, Day. You're a great young man, and all the success you're getting right now, you definitely deserve it. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and look at everybody that had the comments. I'm going to select some winners for 4 free tickets to Valero Texas Open. That is tomorrow. You'll see me out there. I will be out there with some of my boys. My godsons will be out there. Some of my best buds. My 4 bros will be out there. Maybe I'll even run into Greg. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right. Remember, in the game of life, nothing is OB.